to the channel, everyone. My name is Beluga the Jaegers, and today we're going to be talking about one of the questions that should be asked a lot more often, but it doesn't get asked, and that is, how does how does Attack on Titan compare to the Great Gabsty, considered by most to be the greatest American novel, alongside Huckleberry Finn? So, in today's video, I'll be discussing Attack on Titan and the Great Gastby. Now, in no way am I trying to belittle or insult Scott Fitzgerald, and in no way am I trying to say that he's any less than what he is. I have the utmost respect for Scott Fitzgerald. He's a very great man, writes very great books. I'm not denying that at all. I don't want anyone to take this video as such. But we will be marrying the merits of each and seeing which one comes out the best. But disclaimer beforehand. I want to offer a disclaimer. No one is completely objective, and I, for one, am biased towards Attack on Titan, because Attack on Titan, I have a very strong emotional connection to it for a multitude of reasons. So, just so everyone understands, you know, I'm sure you know by now, but just so everyone understands where this information is coming from, okay? I'm a big Attack on Titan fan, always will be. There's better stories than Attack on Titan out there, I presume, but none of them will touch me as much as Attack on Titan does. So, I just want to get it out of the way so that everyone already knows what's happening. So now we have all the disclaimers out of the way, let's just jump right into this. Attack on Titan versus the Great Gastby. Alright, number one. Attack on Titan is longer, which does a couple of things. It makes it more prone to plot holes and convolution, but it can make the story a lot better if it's actually longer. You're able to have more themes. Great Gastby is a very short novel. So again, it's comparing the two is not really fair in a sense, because if they're both, you know, good novels, good books, if they're both good books, then Attack on Titan's gonna win every single time. Attack on Titan has to be significantly worse than the Great Gastby for the Great Gastby to be better, because the Great Gastby is a very short book. Attack on Titan is a very long book. That's number one. So I say, number one, Attack on Titan is longer, and it has more themes. The allegories are more pronounced, and the characters are better developed. And speaking of characters, the Great Gastby has less characters. Now, if you guys are already seeing where I'm going with this, good, because this is actually why Attack on Titan is better than the Great Gastby, but I did not want to open it out that way, and I did not want to put it in the title or thumbnail because I did not want people to be turned off, because rightfully me comparing an anime to a great American novel would be foolish of me. So I want to sort of ease you guys into this, but now that you guys are already stuck around, I'm actually saying it's better. Alright, and I really hope you guys are not thinking that I'm trying to belittle Scott Fitzgerald or anything like that, because it's definitely a very good book, and I read it recently, so I'm going to refresh my mind, and I have looked at a bunch of essays about it, so I want to give it a fair shake. But now that we're into this, I'm saying Attack on Titan is better, and so now we're going to continue. So, the characters. There's more characters in Attack on Titan, and I'm going to talk about, you know, the good characters, the main characters. We have Jean, Connie, Flock, Reiner, Annie to an extent, Historia, and I didn't even mention the main characters. I didn't even mention the main antagonist, Zeke, the actual main antagonist, Eren, Mikasa, Armin. Actually, no, Mikasa doesn't count, but Eren and Armin. The characters go on, and it's not just minor characters. These characters get significant amount of screen time that are significantly developed. And again, it is a longer story, so yes, it has that advantage. Attack on Titan has the advantage of being a longer story, and so what does it do? It makes so the characters better developed. We see characters get developed for much longer periods of time, and we see the more nuanced development that could otherwise not have been done with the Great Gastby. So That's the second point I like to make. So not only does Attack on Titan have more, but not only is Attack on Titan longer, it has more characters. And let's actually talk about why it's longer. The themes that are in there. Well, we really have, I'd say, we have corruption as a theme. We have this toxic nostalgia, I'll call it, wanting for the past that cannot be recreated. We have elitism in The Great Gatsby. We have all these things. Impressions, masks, right? People wear a lot of masks in The Great Gatsby. Gluttony we have, and when I say gluttony, I'm not just talking about like getting fat. Like, gluttony is just being gluttonous, right? Or consumerism, things like that. That's what we have in The Great Gatsby, and those themes are pronounced differently depending on, to different extents depending on which theme we're talking about. Meaning simply to say that each theme is worked on at different lengths is what I'm basically trying to say. Attack on Titan deals with forgiveness, freedom, right? War, love. That is a running theme, believe it or not. Yes, it's true. And trauma, right? Self-improvement, evil, the nature of evil, all of these things. And those are all pronounced very, very well. Better than they are in The Great Gatsby. Again, no fault of Fitzgerald. It's a very short book and it accomplishes exactly what it needs to accomplish, but the themes are pronounced longer. For example, the nature of evil, which is what we're discussing. It's over the course from the very first time Kalkstein peers his head over the wall to when they get done with the rumbling and Connie says, did we do the right thing? It's all about the nature of evil. Who is good, right? How does evil work in the real world? How do you prevent evil, right? How do you be a good person? These are all questions that are asked and re-asked and explored much more in depth than the other themes of The Great Gatsby. And they're still explored very well. Again, I'm not saying that they're not explored. They are explored very, very well. The only thing I see that Attack on Titan and Great Gatsby are both equally good at is character deaths. Both know how to kill characters. Spoiler alert for The Great Gatsby, but Mr. Gatsby dies at just the right time in the exact way he should die. It's perfect. Myrtle dies the exact way that she should die, how she should die, right? It's wonderful how Fitzgerald writes these deaths, and even just how he writes them. What does he say? They rode towards, I forgot the exact quote, but it said that they rode off and over the bridge, over towards death. Just the way he writes it is very nice, which is something you actually don't have in the manga or the anime. There's really no overarching narrator. And I would say that The Great Gatsby does deal with the themes of evil, although, it'd be unfair to compare their version of exploring the nature of evil versus the Attack on Titan version of exploring the nature of evil, because Attack on Titan is just so much more in depth about it. The next thing is the foreshadowing. There is foreshadowing in The Great Gatsby. As I just said, one of the examples I just mentioned is when they said that they rode towards death. That's actually before, Myrtle dies. But and there's other examples of foreshadowing, of course, in the book. But no one does the foreshadow like Isayama in literature. It's incredible. Small bits of dialogue in every jam-packed in every page. It's phenomenal what he does. And while this is less important, and why I saved it for later, it is still part of being an author, is using foreshadowing. Next is symbolism, which of course both Hajime Isayama and Scott Fitzgerald used extensively. Of course, we have the green lights, we have the color yellow, we have the color white, we have the girls' names, Stacey and Myrtle, we have the Valley of Ashes, we have the glasses, Eckenberg's glasses, not the glasses, but the eyes that are there. We have all these the symbolism that is there. Now, what do we have in Attack on Titan? We have the praying mantis. We have the forest and the tree. We have, well, the devil of all earth, which I would sort of say is maybe not symbolism. Aaron looks like a the devil. It's kind of hard. I don't understand. You can cross it off if you're keeping score at home. You can cross out the devil of all earth thing if you want. I'm sort of just put that in there. Next is the puppet. Aaron looks like a puppet when he's in when he's in the thing. His head is all connected by those strings. And you know, the list goes on and on. I would say, this is a hard one for me. Again, I'm very biased towards Attack on Titan. I want to weigh this out fairly. Again, since it's a shorter story, it's hard to symbolize as much as Isayama does. I think what Fitzgerald does is he repeats the same symbol over and over again, which is good. I'm saying it's good. Isayama has a bunch of like little symbols that aren't part of a running theme. Again, the praying mantis only shows up one time and then it leaves, right? But the puppet thing shows up for like the last bit of the arc and then leaves. And of course, you know, there's bunches more out there. I would say right now, just so I can try to, I would say that The Great Gatsby has the slight edge over Isayama, although you are definitely free to disagree. And when I say you're free to disagree, I mean that I might be wrong about this. In the comments about this, maybe you can bring up some stuff I didn't mention in this video, because this is definitely a toss-up. But for now, I'm going to give it to Fitzgerald. And for me personally, I personally like how it's recurring. It's a running theme. They always drive through the Valley of Ashes, right? Wilson lives in the Valley of Ashes, right? Daisy's name is symbolism, right? Well, I mean, I guess you could say Aaron's name is symbolism too. That's true. But the bird. I forgot about the bird. That's actually the only running, to my knowledge, the only running symbol. We also have walls as a symbol. Again, that's sort of like a toss-up, because the walls are like, they're tangible or untangible in the thing, but it's still a running theme symbol. I don't know. Maybe you can say, maybe not. Maybe you can't say. But for me, I prefer more recurring symbols over and over again, rather than just, you know, a few here and there. But again, definitely let me know if I missed something in the comments. So I'm going to give this one slightly to Fitzgerald. And what other categories can I do? I think I'll go my last category on the how life-changing the book is, because the point of books, above all else, is to be life-changing, right? We have, of course, these stories are rooted in passing down morals, and of course, morals are to be life-changing, right? And they're supposed to change the world. The morals are supposed to change your life, and they're supposed to change the world. So which book is more life-changing? I know my hair's wild today. The Great Gatsby or Attack on Titan? I would say, well, The Great Gatsby and Attack on Titan both deal with deeply held beliefs that are already presumed by the reader. One is that freedom should be attained at all costs. I think it's, or you should always fight for freedom. Something along those lines, right? When Aaron's saying that Hugh doesn't want to live his life as a caged bird, even though they can live in the walls, even though they can live somewhat comfortably in the walls, he wants to go beyond them. He wants to sacrifice his life and fight beyond the walls to be free. And that's something that the reader presumes to be a good thing when upon them first reading it. The other thing, Great Gatsby, is wealth is to be desired, or, you know, lots of wealth is to be desired, or comfort and pleasure are to be desired, right? Those are the presumptions that the reader holds, again, especially to an American audience. Both of those really apply to an American audience. Well, of course, this is universal, but mainly for Americans, those two are really applicable. So, how life-changing is Great Gatsby? Well, it shows you slowly about how corrosive and empty all this wealth is and what this wealth brings. And the only character who actually has their wealth by their own doing, well, actually sort of no, because he does. I'm talking about Tom Buchanan, of course, because Tom Buchanan, while he did earn his money being a football player, of course it's implied he's from old money, and so he inherited that money. So still sort of up in the air. But the only person who really only has that American dream, the self-made millionaire, is Tom Buchanan. And of course, as I just said that name, most of you are probably cringing and throwing in your fit and tearing your hair out, because no one likes Tom Buchanan, and that's done purposely, because it shows you what happens, right? And of course, you know, while he does have what Gastby wants, which would be Daisy, he doesn't really have her, because Daisy somewhat, again these characters are very nuanced, as they should be in both shows, but we can simplistically say that part of the reason why Daisy is with him is because of his security and wealth, and she is a girl who desires pleasure in the world and wants to be careless, live a carefree life, so she has lots of money through Tom Buchanan. But what I'm saying is, it's not, even though he has what Gastby wants. So Gastby wants money to be with Daisy, right? And Daisy symbolizes, you know, the elite for him. Even though he has the pinnacle, the goal, he still is not happy and not satisfied with his relationship, because, I mean, she has an affair with Gastby. She's not really devoted to him, and she probably why she's with him is because of how much money he has. So he's saying, you know, pretty much, again, the goal you're striving for is the wrong goal. And this exact same thing plays out on Attack on Titan. Eren wants to move past the walls. And what happens? He realizes, oh, there's more people out there. Oh, okay. What if we kill all of those people? Will we be free then? Then he does that. Then he realizes, this isn't really freedom. We know this because after he declares he's free 131 as a petulant, selfish, foolish, ignorant child, in 131, even though he's symbolized as a child, and even though he's foolish and ignorant and selfish, even he knows he's not free, and so then he frowns. Yeah, so when we see how this works up over the period of time, we see how he was inside the walls. We see how we all want him to move outside the walls. But what happened was it didn't bring him pleasure to move outside the walls. He was distracted for the next thing, and pretty much, again, both stories are really, again, they're not entirely about contentment, but both stories in this sense share the theme of contentment, right? And so, it's still up for debate whether Eren is free to this day, but definitely 151, he's definitely not free. And Reiner, same thing. He's the same as Reiner. What happens with Reiner? He wants to become an armor Merlian. Why? He gets pushed himself forward. Why? So he can win the approval of his parents. And what happens? His dad, despite him becoming an armor Merlian, doesn't like him. Doesn't love him, and his mom, as he finds out, was simply using him. They must strive for another goal, right? And so, while both themes are in Attack on Titan, not only is Attack on Titan done much better, and I think that from the way it's done, from the perspective of your seeing Eren at first, you don't see the Great Gastby when he's you know, in North Dakota. You don't see him when he's in North Dakota. You see him after he's already rich. So what you're doing is you're rooting with Eren throughout his entire mission. Only when 137 comes to be like, oh, actually, wait a second, maybe Eren was a little bit wrong. So you're rooting for him this entire time. Then the perspective shift happens instantly in 137. You're not rooting for Gastby the entire time. It's mysterious, you're confused, you know what's going on, you know what's real, and then, you know, it explains that he knows his story. Not only does that make it more life-changing, but there's also more themes in general about why we fight for peace, about the importance of, you know, forgiveness and love and children and all this other stuff. So I'd say, and this is somewhat subjective because different thing hits different people differently. That's why Armin, he holds up a leaf, what is, you know, which symbolizes freedom for Armin. What does Zeke see? Zeke sees a baseball, right? So this is, again, somewhat subjective over what's life-changing or not. But I'd say, objectively speaking, and again, as I just said, it's subjective. So if you found The Great Gastby more life-changing, good for you. I'm genuinely happy for you. That's great. That's wonderful. But I'd say the potential for it to be more life-changing is with Attack on Titan, because it deals with these themes so well, and it shows you how, again, like The Great Gastby, how you pierce yourself with many grievings, striving for freedom or for money. And we see this happen in two different characters that are the same, Reiner and Armin, and then Reiner and Eren. Sorry. And then we see the opposite. What the solution with Falco and Armin, right? And it's done very well. And of course, we have Zeke, who also plays into this, right? Sort of, but not to the extent that Reiner does and Eren does. And so, and on top of that, again, we have more themes about why we forgive. Why do we forgive, right? We see that with Attack on Titan, the importance of forgiveness. And so, I'd say the potential, that's what I'll say, also the potential to be life-changing is more powerful, more prevalent in Attack on Titan than it is to The Great Gastby. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys liked it. If you guys want me to make a part 2, if you guys have questions, please leave them down below. I will definitely be making a part 2 if you guys want, or I'll definitely be answering questions. If you want a video response, hit just write video response, then ask your question. I'll make a video response for you if you want. Thank you for watching the video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.